Hello, my name is Tristan Hazlett. I am the founder and CEO of Hinckley Medical, and I will be walking you through a quick training today. I'll try to keep it brief as possible. This is really a reference for any of the medics out there or EMTs out there that were unable to see the in-person training, and then that way they can have your train the trainer can have a workflow to follow along with as well. So what you'll see on my screen here is on the right we'll have the PowerPoint. On the left you actually have a live action of my phone, tablet actually, just so you can see what's actually happening on the OneDose app. But this training is both for the one weight and OneDose. It's the full solution, and let's dive right in. So you have an idea of what we are by then, but our whole thing, and I'll start with this, is we want to help you with cognitive offloading. We are not a workflow where you have to do step one before you get to step five. You can jump to step five right away. You can go back to step one, all on the same page. We want to get you the most information with the least amount of work so that when the time happens that you do need that, you have it at your fingertips. So jumping into the one weight scale, obviously this is just a video. You're not going to be able to see me manual operate the gurney or anything like that. So what I would suggest right now and what I would suggest to do is pause it, find the gurney with the scale on it. If you don't have one yet or if the implementation hasn't one yet, you might want to wait till the training to do it. But really, I'll let you pause it, take a second here, and go grab a gurney and we can walk through some of the important steps on there. All right, if you have the gurney, awesome. If not, also awesome. We can keep going. So the three things in order to get an accurate weight on the gurney. So best way I can describe our scale is it's sneaky sensitive. So in order to get that accurate weight where you want it, to the kilo or to the decimal point, um, you do have to do a few things. It's not as simple as just simply put the patient on and get the weight. So those few things can be done, in a matter of seconds. And as long as you build it into your workflow, it shouldn't be a problem anytime you're actually getting a patient on there. So the first and foremost is you have to put the arm rails down. And the point of that is you would be surprised how much weight is on those arm rails when the patient's on there that's not going through the scale. Second is the angle of the backrest, and the third is making sure it's tail system. So again, arm rail down both sides. I know it might be easier to put one side down and make sure the patient doesn't fall off the other. That is an option. Again, you might find some inaccuracies in your weight. In order to get the most accurate weight, put the arm rails fully down, and then make sure it's from 0 to 45 degrees. The reason that it has to be from either flat position to 45 degrees slash semi-faller is because we're not just simply taking all the weights of the load cells that are on there and adding them together. This is actually a calculation that we had to create, a statics equation that we had to create in order to get the weight. And so that's why from 0 to 45. Anything over 45 degrees, you're still going to get a weight. It's just, and it might be an accurate weight. And it's just less consistent is the best way to describe it. And third, zero the scale. This is pretty common. Anyone that did chemistry class in high school, you zero the scale, and with whatever's on there, you can have pillows, blankets, zero the scale with those on there, and it won't take them in consideration for the weight. And there's two ways you can do this. One, manually is the best practice. You can either manually touch it on, let me slide over here on the left screen right now by pressing the 0 button right there, as you can see on the screen as well, or at the top of the head, you have that tear button up there as well. And in case you forget, your weight is not invalid. It's just we have an auto tear system. It works really well. Honestly, it works fantastically. It's just best practices to actually manually do the tear. That way, there's no issues with software bug or anything like that. So this is outside the core functionality. The first three are lower the arm rails 0 to 45 degrees and make sure to tailor scale. This one is just pretty obvious. Just wait for it to lock in. The weight saves, and as the patient's there, if they're thrashing, any of these things, might take a little bit longer for it to save, but it usually takes 2 to 3 seconds for it to save or levelize. And then you have that weight, and then you can put the seatbelts on, strap them down as tight as you want. You can adjust the backrest, anything we want with there. But before you do anything with the patient, before the patient gets strapped in, or you adjust the backrest, or you start walking with the patient, let it lock in. It really happens quick, 2 to 3 seconds. And this is a quick trip worth mentioning because this happens all the time. So you got that old grandma, grandpa, or that young patient or something. They walk up to the stretcher, they're able to get themselves on there, and yet you want to get an accurate weight. So what they usually do, they'll sit on the edge of the stretcher, and the weight will levelize, and it will say saved weight, and yet the patient's not fully on there. So what you do then is you just wait for the patient to get fully on there, and then you press the button once on the screen, or just press we weigh, and it takes that tear value and just continues weighing the patient. Really, really powerful tool, especially because this does happen all the time. So OneDose. So OneDose is our app. You can download it on the App Store. If you have any issues downloading it, feel free to reach out. You know, getting it set up always there's always a couple troublemakers there within the department that have weird phones or something like that that have weird permissions. So if any of that happens, we've run into a lot of it. Feel free to reach out. So for you that don't know, our app offers cool new things that have never been available to you medics. So first and foremost, we have an estimated body weight and an actual body weight. So up until now, it has always been an estimated body weight. You've never had a scale until you got our one weight device, and you've never really had that ability to consider what that means to be given medications based off an estimated or an actual body weight. So this happens at the bottom of the screen here. You can look at the left side. This side would be where the actual body weight populates. It's a Bluetooth connection to the scale. And on the right side over here is where you would add an estimated body weight. So you can do calculations based off of both or one or the other. Our whole point is, again, we're not a workflow. We're not making you do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can jump to step 9 if you want to. This is a quick reference, and you really can get all the information you need in the least amount of clicks as possible. Um, no double documenting, call straight from the device, and everything you see on the screen, and I truthfully do mean everything, can be customized by your admins. So all your medication, fusion equipment, electrical, yada 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 yada, contacts, all those fun things can be customized by your admins. So diving into the actual trading now. So there are three core functionality to the app, to the OneDose app, that if you master these, you can use the app flawlessly. There is a bunch of other features that can go into the app itself that are outside the core, kind of those additional features. But the three core things are what you see on the screen. So first, you have to add a weight, whether it be an estimated body weight, put the patient on the scale, get an actual body weight. You can't do any calculations without having a weight in there. Second is you have to associate it to a protocol. So you have a weight, and now you need to say what treatment we're going to give. What is this situation calling for? And the reason we have that is, and again, this is what we really did is we did an actual calculation to see how we can get you the most amount of information with the least amount of clicks. And this is truthfully the most amount of information with the least amount of clicks. So by associating a protocol, you can see not just what medication you need to give in what situation, but also the dose. Everyone here knows that medications in different situations can sometimes have to give different doses. So, and then lastly, and this one's the most optional, is the document treatment. That one's very helpful for the hospitals, tracking your information, but patient care really happens in the first two over here. So I'll dive in again. I don't want to talk too long, so feel free to pause it during the video at any time, especially after the core functionality. Run through it on your own devices. The best practice is just doing it yourself on your own phones. That way, when a situation comes, where it's high stress and you're worried about screwing up, you already have done it a few dozen times, hopefully a few hundred times, eventually a few thousand times. So navigating the screen, we navigate just like the big apps out there. We didn't break the ground on our look of our app here. I mean, Facebook, Twitter X, all the big apps, we basically took what they're doing, what made them successful, and made it look within what we're trying to do here. So everything, these little icons can navigate you to the different pages. Scroll back to that main page. You can see the pages on there. It's logs, protocols, home, notifications, and settings. All those are useful tabs in their own way. So how to add a weight. So you could add a weight, either estimated or actual, and most likely both. So What we're going to do first, and because I don't actually have mine connected to the scale, you can see the big red dot down there not connected, is we're going to start with an estimated body weight. So let me pull all that up there, and I'll walk through the left side of the screen here now. So this bottom bar has two slides. So only thing I'm doing, just like the finger shows, is I'm sliding the bar. So this is where you would add an estimated weight, the big red flag, and this is when the scale will tell you the actual body weight. So I'm going to slide to the right side of that dot, click anywhere on that bottom bar, and it's going to pop me up to the screen right here. And this is where you add any estimated body weight. I mean, all the different ways you get this information from parents, from the patient themselves, from the hospital, from driver's license, guessing yourself, all those things can be plugged in multiple different ways. So to start, the most common, I'm just going to plug in 200 pounds. Or, for example, I'm going to plug in 40 pounds, or 40 kilos, sorry. And that's going to back calculate to say, okay, based off the age-based formula, a 40 kilo kid is around 10 years old. You click done, click the X on the bottom, and it adds it in there. Some other ways you can do it, the age-based system, which has been very popular lately, developed by that doctor in Australia. You can slide that. 12-year-old, again, using that same calculation to give an ideal body weight based off the age. You got your Broslow colors down here, and you got the small, medium, large adult. So we're a full range patient. We're not specific to any pediatric or anything like that. And the colors that you'll see here, for example, if I just do pink, we'll show it here. So this is cognitive offloading. You don't have to change any of your bags. You don't have to change any of the treatment really strategies that you have built into your department. Everything's the same based off the same colors that you're probably used to. So you saw pink, now if I go purple, you'll see purple. So you can kind of always know what it is in the back of your head as well. You know, as soon as you're on that main screen, everything turns into a purple hue. And same, you know, for, I guess white would be a bad example because they're always white. But getting back to this topic, well, let's plug in a 10-year-old, 40 kilos. All right, and now we're good to go. So that was how you add an estimated body weight. You only need to have one weight in there in order to give treatment options. And to add an actual body weight, again, this is outside the scope of this right here, but that would simply just populate in this bottom left here, put the patient on the scale, a plug in right here, and then you can give calculations based off either or. For the rest of this video, I'll just do it based off the estimated body weight. So you have a weight in there, that's step one. Step two, associate a protocol or associate a treatment or guideline, whatever terminology you need, it's all the same. And again, we literally did a calculation to give you the most information, the least amount of clicks, so we can even count them. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a medication to find the protocol. So if you move your eyes to the left side of the screen over here now, I'm going to click on that top left box, medication, and here's my giant list of medications. So that's one click. I know, hey, in this situation, I know I need to give ketamine, and I know that I'm doing advanced airway sedation or advanced airway sedation. Bang. So everything within this protocol is now on the screen in front of you, including the protocol itself. Can easily scroll in. Okay, that was interesting information. Didn't know that. And, you know, everything's quick reference. So you come to this other screen, and this is all the different treatment options you can give. I mean, it's medication, infusion, equipment, electrical, paired protocols, and vital signs. One fun thing about the vital signs is these actually filter based off the age. So these are the common vital signs for a 10-year-old. I'm pretty sure I plugged these in myself, so these might not actually be the vital signs for a 10-year-old, but I think the point comes across that if this was a 6-year-old, this would be the normal vital signs for a 6-year-old, and vice versa. So that is how you get to a protocol for medication. Again, start at the home screen, click into medications. I can even search if it's a big list, ketamine and advanced airway sedation. There, same way to get there. The other option that you have is protocol to medication. So instead of saying, hey, in this situation, I need to give a medication, I can say, hey, in this situation, I know I need to do airway. So you can come in here I navigated to the protocol tab from the home screen. One left is the protocol tab, and I come in and let's just say I just know I need to do airway. I can type in airway. It searches all the PDFs as well. The ones that have it in the title are at the top. So then I'm just going to come in here, click in that. So that's really 2 clicks. So you can get all the information you need treatment either 3 or 2 clicks. It's again, it's literally the least amount of information clicks that you can get to get that information. It's a really cool process, and everything else from there is already in front of you. So the double-edged sword of what we offer here is how quick it is, right? So all this information's in front of you and everything happens quick, but when it happens quick, you have to be very, very diligent in what you're clicking. So if you look at the top of the left screen here, see this little bar, it says estimated, big red, kind of dark red bar right there. If I go over here, then all these medications would be based off the actual body weight. So you can easily toggle between the two. And again, that's a double-edged sword. One, it's the quickest information that we can get to you, but two, you have to be very diligent to make sure you know what you're clicking on the app and what your medication dosage are. Because if you're supposed to be given a medication based off an estimated body weight or an ideal body weight, you better be on the estimated or ideal tab. Otherwise, you're going to be basing it off of an actual calculation. As you can see, the medication below there, just look at the fentanyl. It automatically calculates the difference. Obviously, I don't have a weight in there for the actual, otherwise it would just calculate that too. So, step 3, and this one is the one that's helpful for the hospital, your administrators, you, if you have any questions, all those fun things, is track treatment and interaction. So I'm just going to pause on the screen right here. So let's walk through what everything on your screen looks like. So on the far left, you have the name of the medication, fentanyl, ketamine, Versed. Right next to that is the concentration, even bolded in red if there's multiple options. So always, I know this is probably built into your department, but our chief medical officer asked me to put this in here because he finds it that valuable. Check with the vial you have in your hand with the concentration on the app there. And also double checked on the far right over here the route that it's going in. So you start with name, concentration, the amount to be given, and then the route. Always double check that again. Please be very diligent. This is a double-edged sword of quick information, and we want to make sure that it's cognitive offloading, that it's not, cognitive onloading. So to track treatment, so if I come in here to fentanyl, this is the range that is allowed to be given based off our medical direction. I can slide this all the way up, halfway in between, all the way down, one or the other, and click administered when I gave it, and it's going to start tracking that information. And where it tracks it is in the far left little red dot on the bottom there, right off our navigation bar. You have logs. And so I say, oh, he gave fentanyl at 1043 and he gave 80 micrograms. So I can come in here. This would be an example of if there are multiple concentrations in the ambulance. Let's say I have my 100 milligram per milliliter in my hand. I gave that ketamine. Versed, same thing. I have 100. I also need to get an epi-drip. Obviously, this is getting a little ridiculous. None of these things correlate to each other. Have to do some equipment, electrical. I'm going to do a defib. And I can track all that over here. So you can see the equipment used, electricals, infusions, medications, the times, amounts, and routes. So one other cool offer that we have here is something called paired protocols. So a paired protocol is a protocol that might come up in the treatment of this patient. So in this case, advanced airway sedation, maybe a paired protocol would be, airway procedure, securing the airway procedure, and then maybe with that one would be missed airway. So these are just other quick references that you can easily look at. And then lastly, the vital signs, and these are based off of the age. Again, I think I entered these, so I don't know if they're right, but these are, these are the accurate vital signs for a 10-year-old. Lastly, and I want to, I'm sure you guys are getting sick of my voice already. You come all the way over here to the left side of the screen, back to that log side. you either cancel the interaction if you're just doing, random testing, or end interaction, submit, and there's my patient. So I have a 10-year-old, I gave a bunch of treatments to. This information can be easily sent to the hospital with their hospital view. I just deleted that by accident, but the point is across, I hope. So this is the time where you go into the scenarios. The scenarios are designed to give you training inside the app alone. Not necessarily training with any sort of patient, I'm going to be pediatric, adult, but just how to use the app. Let me know if there's any issues with that. Feel free to reach out to the team. We have a lot of references for this. And thank you for being a customer. And, we want to do whatever we can to make you successful. So, again, please don't hesitate to reach out. We have a lot of resources available for you. And we hope that you enjoy the scenarios that you're going to end up doing. Thank you.